Hey everybody, Song, it's 134 here.
And I'm Average Joe Squad here.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where we look at comic books, movies, and everything in between. And once again, let's welcome you back to the month of Terror. Arr. 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 So we were kind of having a discussion, and I think we can do this. Let's talk about comic books and horror. Specifically comic books that, or how comics and superheroes in general deal with that sort of thing. So let's kind of talk about one that's kind of near and dear to us. Batman, particularly just the horror stuff that Batman has dealt with. Probably the one that probably comes up to most people's minds would be Batman Reign, or Red Rain, the one where he becomes a vampire, where he fights vampires and then becomes a vampire. I think Gothic horror works really well for Batman.
No, I definitely think so. And I think that was really why you saw such a rise in it in the early 70s when they were trying to move past, the camp of the 60s show. Yeah. They kind of took Batman back to his really gritty roots and stuff.
I was going to say that one of the first stories they did when Denny O'Neil kind of took over for Batman was, I think they redid the Mad Monk story.
I think so.
I want to say, because I know there's one where it literally is just a retelling of the Mad Monk, but with a more modern writing style. But yeah, especially because Gothic just works really well for Batman. There's a story called Batman Gothic. I think having him deal with horror elements works really solidly. Let's have Batman fight vampires or the aliens or the Predator. I think that just works with Batman just because of the nature of how he is as a character. Because I've actually talked with you about, one of my ideas for a Batman movie would be to have him, be shot mostly from, the shadows, where he, is shot like a slasher villain. Where, you see, his hands pulling someone through a wall, or, him pulling someone up into the darkness and stuff like that. Actually making him scary. Would you agree that would work?
Yeah, like I said, there's something about Batman. I think probably what it is the character itself is really dark and gritty, and it kind of just lends itself to the little more of the macabre elements than, say, having Superman fight vampires would. It just kind of works.
Right. That's why I liked when they translated Batman Red Rain for the TV show The Batman, where he fights Dracula in the Batman versus Dracula, which hopefully I think we'll get to this year. If not Halloween, we'll do it in Movat Movember, just because, we're talking about Batman. We could still do vampires whenever the hell we want it. But yeah, I kind of wish we would get more horror elements with Batman whenever they translate him onto the big screen. It just never seems to work that way.
I feel like a lot of it is probably, I don't really know that when you're directing one of these movies, I'm not necessarily sure the directors want to try to branch out with it. They kind of got a formula that has kind of been proven to work for the most part. So they kind of just stick with it, and they don't really want to try to veer off the beaten track for fear of, it not being good and then getting blamed and stuff for it. And so I think a lot of it's just, apprehension about trying something different, even though there's a good chance it would work.
It was just a shame because there are two that I think do prove that, the Swamp Thing TV show. Granted, him and I have never seen it, but I've read the Swamp Thing comics. And if there's anything more horrifying, it's a giant swamp monster. Because, the Swamp Thing, it really does work with, the macabre elements of it, which credit to Alan Moore. That's one of the reasons why I think it works so well. For instance, Swamp Thing dealing with the fact that he's actually probably not the scientist that fell into that water, that he's simply a creature that was born of his brainwaves being mixed in with the green, more or less. The fact that he basically carried around a corpse in his body. That part always freaked me out when they reveal that he has the corpse of the dead scientist in his body, that he's just a shambling cabbage monster, more or less. But the TV show Swamp Thing, I think, did really well because it was scary and freaky. I think it worked because it was something fresh and an interesting thing to do. The other I'd say would be a movie you and I just watched recently, New Mutants, with the horror elements due to the nature of that film. I think psychological could work really well for a lot of superhero films. Like going back to Batman again, Batman A Serious House, or Arkham Asylum A Serious House on Serious Earth, where it's this weird, almost acid trippy scene where is Batman actually there? Is this like a dream he's having? Like everything's really weird. Like Maxie Zeus is actually like has superpowers and is a god. Like, the inmates are running the asylum, and like, is any of this real? Is Batman actually there? Sort of thing. Like, like that was what I thought worked so well with New Mutants. At least I thought so.
I think you and I were probably two of the only people to give that movie a good review, which
Yeah.
saddens me because
Yeah.
I really felt it was a good movie.
Yeah, like I thought it was a very good movie.
I still think people are being too harsh on it.
Yeah, I would agree. But yeah, like I think those two did it so well. Like regardless of what you think of New Mutants, is us talking about it since we actually watched it. I think you could do stuff like that. Like for instance, I think it's ridiculous that Sandman has yet to get like a TV show or a movie. Because like Sandman also deals with some interesting twists and turns, especially with the fact that one of the main characters is literally the god of dreams, Morpheus.
I just want a good Spawn movie.
I don't know if I really count Spawn as horror. And yes, I know he's a demon from hell, but like, have you read a Spawn comic?
I fucking hate clowns.
I fucking hate clowns. I don't know. It's hard for me to consider Spawn horror. Because like, for God's sakes, he fights a cyborg gorilla named Cygor. Like, I don't find anything scary about that. I mean, I guess if you're like a Satanist or when he fights his archangel for the Redeemer, maybe that's scary. I don't know. Like, granted, I think Spawn could work if you did that, but I don't know if it would work the way Todd McFarlane wants to do it. Hey, what if Spawn barely shows up and it's more about these detective characters? And Spawn's just kind of in the background, like.
See, I think it could work. I don't know if it would work as well as he thinks it would.
Well, because like, what do you pay for when you want to go see a Spawn movie? You want to see Spawn.
If a motherfucker got a cape on, I'm gonna go see it.
Well, I know you would, but like, you get my point, right? Like,
Yeah.
like for most people, they don't care about the stupid shit he wants to do. They want to see Spawn. They want to see him fight stupid shit.
Yeah.
They want to see the stuff with Malbolgia and like. It's really weird. I'm not a Spawn guy, but I know so much fucking shit about Spawn.
Glad you do, because I know like next to nothing about Spawn.
Like I know like stuff about Spawn, Angela. I think a lot of it's just because Linkara talked about Image so much, and like early Image is so dumb. Like the only reason I think Spawn even got off is because he's not done by Rob Liefeld. Let's throw that out. And B, because he was actually like interesting as a like concept. He's this man that was like this soldier and he died and went to hell, but like he wanted to see his wife again, but like the devil screwed him out with the deal and made him this shambling corpse monster because he wants him to lead his army of Hellspawn. Like there's something interesting there. The problem is I don't think until someone else took over for Todd, namely Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder. The guys who went on to do Batman, which I think is hilarious that like they did Spawn and then they did Batman. They literally went from one scary guy in a cape to another scary guy in a cape.
Yeah. Familiar territory, basically.
To be fair though, Greg Capullo drawing Spawn, like his Spawn looks good.
Yeah.
Like I argue almost better than McFarlane's. Not like but then again, I don't really like McFarlane. Since we're talking about McFarlane, let's talk about McFarlane's take on Spidey and the weird gothic horror elements he tried doing with Spidey.
I think what he tried, I think it was an interesting take, and there were bits and pieces of it I did like.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't think it's aged very well.
No, like as someone who has the first story from Adjectiveless Spider-Man, which
one? Sin City? Or is it Torment?
Torment.
Torment.
For those of you who are wondering why I say Adjectiveless Spider-Man, so McFarlane got his start writing Amazing?
Yes.
Yeah,
he started on Amazing.
I wanted to say sensational, but I was pretty sure it was Amazing. He was the artist. He drew, for those of you, he got really big. He created Venom, which he created
debatable.
he created the modern look for Venom. The guy who created Venom.
The question of who created Venom is such a confusing mess of
Yeah.
shit, and it just highlights they didn't know what the fuck they were doing
with Venom. Most people argue
it was
it's
a happy accident.
Yeah. Most people argue it was Todd McFarlane and Ed Brubaker, Ed Brubaker created like the backstory for Eddie and Venom in general. But getting back into and so basically he did that, and they were like but the thing is Todd was kind of not liking the way Marvel and DC did things. Basically, he didn't get any money from characters he created, which. To be fair, I get why that's kind of a shitty thing, but at the same time,
you see both sides of it.
Yeah, I see both sides of it, especially the shit show that Image was in the early days. Needless to say, after all the people that Form Imaged left, it got better. I want to emphasize that because Image nowadays is much better.
Yeah,
but basically, in order to appease Todd, they're like, we'll give you your own Spider-Man title. What are we going to call it? We've got Amazing. We've got Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. We have Web of Spider-Man. I want to say Sensational existed at this point.
Yeah, Sensational did.
Spider-Man Unlimited, which was the annual, not to be confused with the TV show of the same name. Pardon us for getting into this little Spider-Man thing, but I wanted
Marvel
to explain.
Team Up, which was basically Spidey.
Like if everyone complains about how Batman had too many titles, Spider-Man had like 17.
Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s. To say nothing of when Ben Reilly took over the titles and they changed several of them to be like Web of Scarlet Spider and Sensational Scarlet Spider.
X-Men, Astonishing X-Men.
Oh my God.
X-Factor.
Okay,
X-Force,
I take that back.
New Mutants.
Your point has been made, Colton. Thank you. But
Cable.
X-Man. But
what else? Do we miss any?
Yeah, but
I'm sure we missed some.
But long story short, they just gave him a title called Spider-Man. But people, because like what does that mean? So everyone just makes the joke that it's called adjectiveless Spider-Man. Like if you go on to forums and you talk about stories, if they took place in that title,
but at least they remembered the hyphen.
At least they remembered the hyphen. Shameless plug. They would say this is adjectiveless. But like when Todd got the rights to write, you kind of see one of the problems with Todd. It's while he can draw really nicely, he can't write for shit. Like as someone who has seen the writing in Spawn, like he literally just is not a writer. And that's not a bad thing. There are plenty of artists who just draw and that's it. And that works. You get a solid writer to go with it. Make a bang-up team. That works. But when you give an artist writing duties, that doesn't always translate into they can write. And it really shows with Todd. For instance, the story we're talking about, Torment, I don't even know what happened when I read it. Like, literally, this woman who was, like, Kraven the Hunter's lover wants revenge on Spider-Man because Kraven shot himself. So she used voodoo magic, I guess. It's not really clear. And she uses it to, like, make Spider-Man see, like, Kraven's dead corpse with, like a big hole in his head, like, haunting Peter. And she also uses her magic to turn Kurt Connors into the Lizard, and the Lizard, like, attacks. It was weird.
It's wild.
Because, there's almost no dialogue. It's told completely in, like, text boxes. And you don't do that. Like,
it's not really writing.
That's not, well, especially it's not comic book writing. That's not how comic books work.
Yeah.
And it's really bad. To say nothing of, like, what he does to Mary Jane in those stories. But, like, he did that. He would do, like, he's also responsible for, I think, turning the Hobgoblin into the into a demon. So, long story there. The second Hobgoblin, Jason Macendale, because he was super fucking sucky. Like, Like, people always talk about how lame the Hobgoblin is, and they didn't know my boy Roderick Kingsley. He was awesome. His replacement, Macendale, sucked. Like, he had no powers when he showed up. He just had the goblin shit, which anyone like Harry Osborn will tell you, just because you have the tech doesn't mean you can beat Spider-Man. You need that super strength edge.
Yeah.
But he didn't have access to the goblin formula. So what did he do? He tried training himself to make him a more capable fighter. It didn't help.
Yeah, it didn't help.
He went to one of the sons of Kraven, the lame one. Well, okay, he had two lame sons.
The lame one.
But like the Grim Hunter, the one where he's like, I'm gonna kill Spider-Man for killing my daddy. I'm dark and edgy. The one that Kane murdered when Kane first showed up during the Clone Saga. You know the one.
Reminds me of some Dark Devil
Yeah,
level
but
shit.
like he gives him
Dark
this,
Devil is better than that shit.
No, Dark Devil is. He gives him like the same like African medicine that like made Kraven able to go toe to toe with Spider-Man. It didn't work. So, okay. During an event which I actually think McFarlane was a part of, called Inferno, the X-Men fight demons that rampage New York. That's all you need to know about Inferno, by the way. Actually, we'll talk about X-Men and their dealing with demons after this, but in their horror. But so a demon, Hobgoblin goes this demon that I think was the leader of the demons in Inferno, or he was just a demon that was a part of Inferno. And
He wasn't involved with Inferno.
He wasn't. Oh,
Inferno was written by Louise Simpson, Chris Claremont, Steve Egelhart, Gary Conway, David McElhine, and Nacinti Walters Simonson, John Bogdanov, Terry Austin, and Juliana Jones. And I apologize if I butchered any of those names.
Basically, everyone writing the X books at the time. Probably Chris Claremont was like the head part, because Chris Claremont was the guy in charge of X-Men at the time.
Yeah.
In fact, I argue he was for a long time. It's like if you
The
like
reason X-Men is like how it is now is because of Chris.
Yes, because of Chris Claremont.
Because when he got that title, it's funny. He got that title. He got the title nobody wanted.
Yeah, but then he arguably made X-Men the powerhouse that it was in the 90s. But so
He
basically,
also wrote my favorite story.
Oh yeah, he wrote Dark Phoenix. So the Hobgoblin goes to this demon, which apparently no one told Macendale you shouldn't be making deals with devils.
Yeah.
And he gets turned into the demon Hobgoblin. And once again, he sucked. So much so that eventually the demon ripped itself from him and became the Demo Goblin. You see this face? This is the face I make when I bring up the Demo Goblin. I know of him in one story, and it's fucking Maximum Carnage. Yeah. And then we won't talk much.
Spidey's got some golden guys in his rogues gallery. He ain't one of them.
No. And then later on, Hobgoblin gets turned to a fucking cyborg during the Clone Saga. And you remember how that went, too.
I don't want to talk about it.
And that was so terrible, they had to bring back the original Hobgoblin to kill him and take back the throne.
I wish they brought Belladonna back. We gotta give Spider-Man a female villain.
We were going
Remember,
to.
that's what they kept trying to do. I don't know
Yeah.
why they were fixated on it, but they had to try to do it.
No, because, like, most superheroes have at least one decent...
Well, Black Cat's not a villain anymore. It's like,
You know,
I wish you guys would fucking like pick on that, because Jesus, every iteration of that character I see, you always change it a little bit.
well, don't worry, Colton. When the Gauntlet becomes a thing, we'll just make Kraven's wife the new female villain for Spider-Man. Except that she dies at the end of that story because Kraven's like, "Fuck you, bitch! Snap your neck." Which, I mean, I'm not for violence against women, but
It's obviously Madam Web keeps fucking with his life. That Madam Web is the real villain.
you're not wrong. But you can kind of tell what, like, mystical horror doesn't really work with Spider-Man. I argue, like, science horror, like the symbiote works.
Yeah, stuff like that works. You know, stuff a little more grounded.
But, like,
in
magic
reality.
has never really worked with Spider-Man. Like, I don't understand why we keep trying to do it, especially the totem shit.
It's not like X-Men, where I argue it can work with X-Men.
Yeah, which, granted, it helps that, like, there are, like, mutants that their superpower is that they have magic. Like Nightcrawler.
Magic.
Well, magic / being the son of a demon. Because Nightcrawler's weird to me.
No, I meant the character magic. Oh. I meant the character magic.
Right, sorry, yeah. But like you I think you agree with me, right? Like magic doesn't work with Spider-Man. Like it never has.
Just doesn't.
It always just is
sometimes
stupid.
certain types of storytelling can work really, really well with certain types of characters, and other times it works really, really poorly with certain characters.
Like I always argue, like, more interesting stuff being like, you know, like the body horror of the lizard from turning himself into a lizard man. Or again, Venom, who is literally basically the Thing. There's actually, if I remember correctly, there's this Venom miniseries I had an issue of, where it basically, the Venom symbiote is killing people to try and sustain itself. Or it's, actually, I think what happens is it's actually a clone of the Venom symbiote made by the government.
Oh, Jesus
Because,
Christ.
you know, that always
fucking
works.
Going the Wayland Yutani route, I see.
Well, you remember fucking Separation Anxiety, where they took seeds from the symbiote and made their own. That works so well.
Yeah, that worked out real fucking well.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point we need a fucking Pokemon rap just to fucking name all the symbiotes.
When we do Spidey Miss this year, I want to talk
the symbiote problem.
Yeah, I want to talk about how much I'm so fucking done with symbiotes anymore. But basically the thing. Well,
there's only a couple symbiotes that are good.
Yeah, but getting back to the Venom mini I was talking about, basically this Venom like was kind of like the Ultimate Venom or Ultimate Carnage, where they drain the life force out of you to like you're like a husk. Well, basically it was like in this like Arctic base, and it was just killing people one by one. I think Spider-Man.
It was just the Thing, basically.
Yeah.
Spider-Man the Thing.
Yeah, I think Spidey does show up like towards the end of it, but it was really weird. I only had one issue of it, so I had no idea what the fuck was going on. There's also like this weird alien.
Just one of those things you pick up and then you read it and you're like, I have no clue what the fuck is happening.
On. I need to find that
issue.
I
don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here.
I don't even think I have that issue anymore. I think what happened was someone that lived in the trailer my parents were, they had a kid, and they had like they let me look at some of their comics because they had some. So I don't know if I have it anymore, but it was really weird, and I could not figure out because it was just called Venom. And there's like 800
fucking series just called
Venom or solo minis that he had. It was
probably
really
look
weird.
Up like Venom the Thing ripoff or something. It'll probably come up. Somebody's probably done a review of it somewhere.
Probably somewhere. But like there's like this weird like alien Men in Black dude who has like a cell phone that shoots like energy out of it. Fucking weird. But yeah, like
weird shit though.
But like let's talk about the X-Men, like some of the weird horror stuff that they kind of deal with, like Inferno, which we might have to try and find Inferno someday because I've heard horror stories of how bad it is.
Before we get into X-Men, I have one that I think we both have kind of ignored with this. Mm-hmm. That's a horror element. You want to bring up everybody's favorite fucking deal maker of the fucking Marvel universe?
Mephisto.
Because here's the thing, I wasn't even thinking Brand New Day with this. Do you remember when he was tormenting Sue Storm in the 90s?
Yeah, because
with that weird shit that was going on.
He wanted Richard.
That stuff was fucking weird.
He wanted Franklin because he wanted Franklin's powers.
Yeah, well, and it was like right around the time Sue miscarried with Valeria and the whole fucking malice shit. Fucking that period of Fantastic Four is fucking weird.
The 90s was a rough time for the Fantastic Four. There's a reason why they ended up having to be killed off during the Heroes Reborn storyline. Because, like, you had shit like, you know, Reed wearing this stupid battle vest. Ben's, all the rock on Ben's face got ripped off, so he had to wear, like, a weird metal helmet.
Yeah.
Johnny, like, was married to Alicia Mast, like, Ben's girlfriend, and, like, but then it turned out she was actually a Skrull. It was
the Roger,
and
to
weird.
Top it all off.
The Roger
Corbin.
Yeah, You might have to talk a little bit more about that. Because
I've actually never read those issues. I don't know if they're collected yet in an Epic collection.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I'll be honest, I'm so behind with what I want to read, like, because I'm trying to read a series in order, and which is easier said than done. But yeah, from what I've seen of it, it's just as fucking weird. It comes off almost like a fanfic, you know what I mean? And like, and it's like it's not even what I think of when I think of Mephisto. So I don't know why that one came to mind. What I think of is how his fucking red ass fucking ruined my OTP.
Well, the problem with Mephisto, especially with Marvel, is they don't want to just say he's the devil. They want to say he's like a demon, but he's not.
He's not the big demon.
Despite the fact that he makes deals and shit. Yeah.
He clearly is.
One of my other favorite stories, I've told you about Daredevil, Guardian Devil, which I would like to do for the show, but I need to pick up the trade. Basically someone is fucking with Daredevil and he thinks he has this baby that he thinks is the Antichrist. So he goes to Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange summons Mephisto. But like he puts him like, because like Mephisto has fought with Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange has just whooped his ass left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Like if anyone can deal with Mephisto, it's Doctor Strange or Thor.
Yeah.
Because Thor will be like,
maybe Loki. On a good day.
On a good day. But Loki's weird. But so he summons Mephisto, who looks really fucking weird in this story. Like, you know how, like...
He looks like I know what the fucker looks like when he's ruining my OTP.
Well, that's because that's how he normally looks.
That's how he's supposed to look.
Yeah. In this, he's like this big, furry, red, like, monster with, like, no eyes and, like, just all these teeth.
He's just fucking with you in that one.
I assume that Mephisto can just change his... I assume Mephisto just changes his shape. He's like, oh, I'm being disrupted with some of my Doctor Strange. I need to be fucking weird. Because that's Mephisto.
Yeah.
And basically, Doctor Strange is like, are you actually, is this child... Because at first they think it's Jesus reborn, which I'm like,
okay.
Matt,
this is not the time for the Catholic guilt. Damn it.
I'm like, Matt, you're a Catholic. You should know that, like,
damn it, man.
That Jesus will come back in the form of a man, not be reborn as a baby. That's the Antichrist.
Damn it, man. This is no time for the Catholic guilt.
But it's hilarious because, like, Mephisto actually points that out. Like,
does he even say that?
Yeah, no, Jesus.
Damn it, this is no time.
Not the time for the Catholic guilt thing. But he basically goes like, no,
that's not how it works.
When Jesus comes back, he's gonna come back like as Jesus. What you have is the Antichrist. Wait a minute. I know that guy. He's the dude that wears my body like a costume, and like it's hilarious because like Daredevil meanwhile is just shitting himself because he's come across the devil. So like he's just like So Doctor Strange's like, get the fuck out of here. Another great story with him in it though, and I would love to lend this to you. Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom, Triumph and Torment. Where basically, for those of you who don't know Doctor Doom's background, his mother actually made a deal with Mephisto, because his people were the Romani, the gypsies. Forgive me for using that, but that word, but that's what they were. And they were going to be like killed by the current ruler of Latveria, and his mother, being a sorceress of her own, summons a demon. Unfortunately, she summons Mephisto. And Mephisto more or less gives her this magic, but it turns her into like a monster that kills everything, and eventually she dies. Which leads Doom to wanting revenge on Latveria, because he doesn't blame his mother, he blames
the country.
Yeah, for driving her to that. So he literally wages a war on Latveria, kills the current leader of Latveria, and becomes Doom. But basically, it's a great story because it actually shows that Doom and Doctor Strange were both in contention for the Sorcerer Supreme. Basically, the most powerful sorcerer in the universe. Well, the 616 universe, not all the multi. Anyway, so
damn it, Adam, this is no time for multiverse shit.
Sorry. So basically, Doom loses, of course, because Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme, so obviously he loses.
What do you mean alive?
jazz hands! I have to go to my Taibo class!
I'm still not over that movie.
No, I'm not either. That shit was weird.
It was like watching a fucking parody. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Was. But basically,
I'm about to watch the doc on that soon.
Basically, because the Vishanti are fucking with Doctor Strange, as they do. They're like, well, you won, but you owe a favor to the guy who came in second. Fucking why? I don't know. The Vishanti do that shit.
It doesn't make any sense.
The hoary host of Hoggoth said, go fucking...
The winner now will later be last.
Yeah. Agamotto and Vishnu are... I can't remember all the names of the fucking Vishanti, but they're like, you have to fucking do it, so go do it. And so basically he owes Doom a favor, and he's like... And I love because Doctor Strange is like, I'm not gonna help you take over the world. Fool! Doom can take over the world when he pleases! But I do want your favor. Apparently, basically every year on the summer solstice, he goes to hell to fight Mephisto to get his mother's soul back.
Jesus.
No,
You've told me about this, and this is still one of those ones where I read it and I'm like, what the is this? This can't be real.
No,
and it is.
It's
one of those ones where it's like, wow, what is this?
It's wow, but it's really good, especially when they get to hell, because you actually see like Mephisto like fucks with them. You know, like he brings this statue with Doom's mother's soul in it, and like him and Doctor Strange get separated, and Doctor Strange, basically these demons like put him under a spell that traps him in this world where he never his hands didn't get broken, and so but Doctor Strange is like, what's going on? Like wait a minute, I'm driving down the road where I have my accident. You know, and he goes to he goes to the temple where he meets the Ancient One. He's like, you know, I need to see this man. I think he can help me with my hands. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, you just missed him. He just died. And Doctor Strange's like, but that's not how this goes, which actually snaps him out of it. But needless to say, it's a really interesting, and I love their portrayal of hell because it's not just all fire and brimstone. There's deserts and sand, and it was very interesting, and I think I would actually love to see Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom Triumph and Torment actually get made into a movie.
Yeah.
Especially because I think it's such a great story, and it talks about how how Strange met Doctor Doom, and how Doctor Doom and Strange both vie for the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, it's an interesting little take.
And then I think it's just a great look into the why Doctor Doom is the way he is.
Yeah.
There's this great scene where Doom and Strange come back to that Varian parade because it's very North Korea where whenever Doom comes back from a trip overseas, everyone's like, we gotta have a parade for our beloved leader Doctor Doom. And there's a scene where Doom stops the car they're in because a little girl wants to give him flowers. We thank you for returning to us, Doctor Doom. The thanks are mine, child. And I'm like, why you put on this shit for Doctor Strange? This isn't Cap or Iron Man or
Bucky or somebody showing up.
Representatives for the United States. This is literally this fucking wizard who lives out in the fucking burrow.
This is a good one to bring up, and it kind of relates to X-Men. Because I kind of count this as a horror thing, because I feel like whenever they use it, it comes across like it. All the fucking medical experimentation shit they do for X-Men. I remember watching Logan and that shit showing up, and I was like, holy fuck. I'm like, God, I don't want to watch this.
It's certainly better than how they did in Wolverine Origins, where they just...
Oh my God, I want to talk about Origins. We're not talking about Origins. This is not the time to talk about Origins. That time is never.
Which is such a shame, because
the movie never happened.
It actually looks more like the Weapon X storyline, where, where he's covered
I have that.
in,
Remember, I have the original run.
Well, then, the figure I'm talking about, where he has, the helmet on, he's like, ah! But, they don't really...
We're just fucking slaughters an entire place.
But, in this, he literally, maybe kills, 2 people, and then he just leaves. And I'm like, oh.
Cool, I wanted to watch him rip the fucker
But I know Logan does really well with it.
It's so heart-wrenching, the way they show it, that it's on, like a hidden cam.
Well, again, with New Mutants, the fucking experiments that the Doctor does to those kids.
Yeah.
Or just, the stock footage that both those used, where, it shows them, training these kids to be, weapons.
Yeah, it's just, and like X-Men not only does that a lot in the comics, but they did that, I feel like when they do it in the movies, it's really just horrific.
Well, sometimes, depending on the movie, if it's good. I also think there's a lot of psychological horror with the X-Men.
Definitely.
Just because of like the psychics and what they can do to you.
Yeah.
I know Onslaught's not very good, but like the part where Onslaught is trying to convince Jean to like work with him, and like he plays to her fears and her weaknesses. You know, showing that scene where also Dr. X, Professor Xavier wanted to bang you.
Creepy.
Yeah. Not only that, they have like a xenomorph like XP with the fucking Brood.
Yeah.
Like that the fucking scene where everyone else goes to celebrate Christmas and poor Kitty has to stay back because she's Jewish, and then
God, I remember the first time I read that. It's tacked on to the end of the Days of Future Past trade,
Yeah.
the regular one, not the huge omnibus that I have of it.
But then as she's there, the Brood decide to invade the X-Mansion and she has to fight them off. Which
turns out it's very alienish. You ever notice that? It's very alien.
Well, no, that was the
point.
Yeah,
Probably.
that was the point. Because that's what the Brood are. Because they even look like the xenomorphs.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like the whole reason they left was because they were actually getting Kitty's parents so they could celebrate Hanukkah. And I'm like, you couldn't have left a couple of you guys behind instead of making her feel like, oh, well, you're Jewish. Bye.
Yeah.
80s. Nightcrawler and his deal with like being the son of like a demon, which I actually found it hilarious they fucking brought Azathoth into X-Men Days of Future First Class, because like
as much as the storyline's ass, the stuff in Mutant Massacre is very horrific. The crucifixion shit. That shit's fucking.
Oh, you're talking about the Chuck Austin shit.
That shit's fucking terrifying.
Oh, especially because like that they killed off a lot of like the Generation X mutant. Like basically Chuck Austin was like, I don't want to write about these characters, so they're just gonna get crucified.
Which is like, what the fuck, man?
I
don't want to see that.
Which is fucked up because he reverses them all because like Angel's healing blood brings them all back except Angelo, aka Skin. Which I'm like,
why?
Thanks.
But why?
To be fair though, we should just talk about that story just because of how fucking stupid it is.
I would have to buy it and read it, and I don't know. Like, because someone was like, "Oh, they just recently collected it in a hardback trade, like my Marvel omnibus again." And I'm like, "Do I want a fucking Marvel omnibus of that?
No,
I don't need that.
We'll find the individual. We'll find the individual.
Here's the worst part: if you're like me and you want a complete run of everything, I'm gonna have to get it eventually.
Well, no, I know,
it's like the slot stuff with Marvel. The way they're going, they're gonna end up doing those as hardbacks, and I'm just gonna be like, "Am I really gonna shell out 120 for fucking slot?" God damn it, I don't want to do that.
And then you're going to do the Mr. Krabs thing. Of course I am! But,
I'm gonna buy it secondhand so he doesn't get any of my money.
No, but if we were to review the Chuck Austin, I'll find a thing. Because the individuals, I think, are only like 25 cents.
They're probably cheap as fuck.
But,
worst case scenario, we can just download them. I can get a comic book reader.
Just to give you an idea of what we're talking about, it involves a plot by this evil anti-mutant cult that wants to make Nightcrawler the Pope to take over the world. Let that sink in.
Trying to think any other ones.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, definitely.
Unfortunately, none of the movies that he's been in have utilized the fact that he's a fucking demon.
The second one's a horror in and of itself.
Yeah.
Which we got to review those at some point. I don't own the second one. I own the first one.
Scraping at the door. Scraping at the door. You don't want to fight the devil, the demon, the Rider Man. He meets Batman. Fun fact, none of those special...
I love Nick Cage, but even I'm like, I haven't seen these movies in forever.
Fun fact, Nick Cage doesn't doesn't have any special effects when he's turning into Ghost Rider and that. He literally can just make his head burst into flames.
I believe it. You're really pissing me off.
But,
it's like the Declaration of Independence. He threw himself in the oven.
I'm gonna use my head to burn the Declaration of Independence. Because despite all my rage, I'm still Spider Cage. Despite all my rage. But like, it's such a shame because like Ghost Rider could be like you could do so much cool stuff with Ghost Rider.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just don't. Like we have seen all three iterations of Ghost Rider on screen. Like because the original, like, I mean, yes, in the two Ghost Rider movies, he's Johnny Blaze, but like in the second one, they really turn his design into like, aside from his motorcycle.
Well, and then there's also one of them in Agents of Shield.
That's the third one.
Yeah.
I think his name's Michael Reyes. I forget what his name is.
I haven't watched Agents of Shield, so.
Well, I just know him because I've seen him in comics.
Now, I think the show's over now, so maybe now I can watch it. I'll just probably binge all of it.
To be fair, I've heard a lot of good stuff about the third Ghost Rider because he's just a teenager who has demon powers, and he kind of just is a goofball, even when he's like in Ghost Rider form. Like, and to be fair, I think a lot of that is just because a lot of Ghost Rider stories aren't very good. I have like a Ghost Rider trade. Basically, what happens is Ghost Rider tried to kill the devil. Unfortunately,
why didn't we get this in a movie? I would have paid to see Nick Cage try to fight the devil.
Unfortunately, you can't kill the devil. What happened instead is his soul.
You can only beat his ass in a fiddling contest.
Well, he tried doing that too, but basically, his soul broke up into like all these pieces. I think 666 pieces.
What? So it's fucking Castlevania now?
You have to kill all of those souls so that you can return him to hell.
This is exactly like Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest.
But the problem is,
the
more pieces you kill, the stronger the other pieces become.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not very good.
This doesn't sound very good.
I mean, in
theory, it sounds pretty fucking cool, but I'm sure the delivery doesn't leaves a lot to be desired.
Part of it gets stopped because World War Hulk was happening at the time. So Ghost Rider takes a detour from the whole trying to prevent Satan, because Satan's also killing the pieces so that he can eventually become Satan, so he can, cause the apocalypse. So he decides, no, I'm gonna go fight Hulk for vengeance. Which amasses with him trying to do the pen and stare on Hulk, seeing why Hulk is so pissed and why World War Hulk is happening, and decides, no, I was wrong. Hulk is vengeance. I'm a bail. This is also the story where they reveal that the demon that Johnny Blaze is tied to is not actually a demon, but a fallen angel. So Ghost Rider's actually...
this is why I didn't have Ghost Rider comics as a kid.
Yeah.
Probably because there wasn't any good ones to get.
The problem with a lot of...
If anybody wants to recommend us a Ghost Rider story, go ahead and put it down in the comments and we'll check it out. And if it's good, we'll review it. I would like to actually read some good Ghost Rider because I like the character.
Well, because here's the problem with Ghost Rider. He's a really cool-looking drawing.
And then in theory...
Who the
fuck wants to fight that?
Well, then,
if some dude came walking up to you like that, you're gonna fight him? You're gonna be like, fuck dog,
hear me out.
I'm a bail. I'm out.
The problem is, they think, well, he's cool, so we don't really have to do much to make good stories with him. And I'm like...
Not really.
I'm like, yeah, but, he's a great look to, put on the side of my van or get a tat. But, if his stories aren't good, I don't want to fucking read them.
You want to get matching tats and Ghost Rider?
No, I don't want to get matching tats and Ghost Rider. Get the fuck out of here.
I'll get the Sam Elliott one. You get the Nick Cage one.
Fuck off. Get the fuck out of here. You fuck off. Which, fun fact, that Ghost Rider isn't actually a ghost.
I know.
The Sam Elliott character is that... Because...
It has been so long that I legitimately remember nothing about that movie. I might honestly get it out of the box it is in tomorrow, and I might watch it just because I'm like, I haven't watched it since it came out.
You know what? Fuck it. We might just review.
You want to review Ghost Rider, the first one? I'm down. I don't have the second one.
Fuck it. This Halloween we're reviewing Ghost Rider. After we get the Blair Witch ones recorded,
get Cody on the phone.
After we get the Blair Witch
Cody
ones
hates those
recorded,
movies. Call him up. Get him on here.
I don't even need to fucking rewatch them because
I need to watch the second one because I've never seen it. So I'll have to let me go home and prime that. Get it sent out to the house because I have the first one.
Yeah,
you can probably get a 2-pack of those. Honestly.
Like I said, we need to do your Blair Witch one first.
Yeah, but if we do Ghost Rider, we got to get Cody because Cody hates those movies with a passion.
The worst part about those Nicolas Cage ones, Johnny Blaze is supposed to be like your age or mine.
What's 26?
Yeah,
25.
Yeah, Johnny Blaze, Nicolas Cage, Johnny Blaze he must have done some serious fucking drugs. Because he is a rough-looking 26.
He's done some serious drugs.
My favorite is the part where they show that, like...
He don't respond to strong drugs anymore.
My favorite part is when they show him getting in the shower before he goes to... who's the woman in that?
I can't...
She's some actress that they used her in everything back then.
Oh my god, her name's right on the tip of my tongue.
Ava Mendes.
Ava Mendes, I think, is who that is.
Yeah.
Yes. Remember, somebody had it on in the break room the one day. I'm like, who the fuck put Ghost Rider on? Who the fuck did this? So then when I walk in the one day, they got Infinity War playing. It's the snap scene. I'm like, who the fuck put this on?
One of the best part is when he's taking that shower and like becoming more of like Ghost Rider has given him like this buff look. I'm like, I'm gonna say that's actually not Nicolas Cage's body, but he just stuck his head. Like, the best part is, like, he's 18 in that scene where he tries to save his dad by making a deal with the fucking devil. And it's the dude from fucking Easy Rider as the devil. I forget his name.
Dennis Hopper?
Yeah,
Peter Fonda?
Peter Fonda.
I was like, which one? There's two guys in Easy Rider.
It's Peter Fonda.
Peter Fonda. Fresh off Thomas and the Magic
No, because they make a joke about that, because he sees a bike, he sees the bike from, like, Easy Rider. He's like, nice wheels. And I'm like, and you fail as Satan. Satan wouldn't say that. If you're trying to make a, like, Satan, like...
I don't know. Have you seen the ending to Easy Rider? I can see Satan being okay with this.
Well, you get my point, right? But he's supposed to be, like, 18 there. It's only been, like...
Fan theory. The original Ghost Rider is actually that guy from Easy Rider. It's Peter Fonda's character, because he gets killed by the rednecks, remember? Mm. So he comes back as Ghost Rider to vow vengeance on all rednecks.
Yeah, you know...
I would pay for this fanfic. I'd pay for this.
I'd pay for this movie.
This is good. This is good shit. Write this down. I'll write this when I get home. Put this down.
And then, like, but it's just... Oh, and fucking...
Marvel texted me. We want to know your location.
And fucking Darkheart is... of all the fucking demons you could use, like, why not just fucking have Mephisto? But no, we gotta have Darkheart. He sounds like a fucking Care Bears villain.
He does, honestly.
Oh, no, look out, it's Darkheart. Actually, no! There's a Care Bears villain in the second Care Bears movie called Darkheart.
Listen, the true horror element of anything is obviously Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, that fucking scene where Doc Ock's tentacles just...
No, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Not good Spider-Man 2.
Oh, yeah, well, that's scary for an entirely different reason.
I'm here to light the candles on my birthday cake.
Could you imagine, like, any other villain?
Ever since that has gotten announced, that has been all we have joked about is I'll look at him and say that, and he'll just start dying.
Oh, my God.
What was the one I sent you, the meme about it? Tony Stark forgot my birthday. I'm like, God damn it. If they do this, I'm going to hurt somebody. Yeah,
could you imagine?
Enough of this shit.
Could you imagine other villains being like that?
I want this to be good. I like the memes, but I want Elektra to be good.
Like, we need to bottle some of this for when we actually do the Amazing retrospective, but could you imagine any other villain, like, doing something like that? Like, Catwoman being like, Batman didn't let me top him, so now I want revenge. I mean, with that's basically Tom King's Catwoman. You know, she just wants to top him, and she just can't. Because Batman is a form of suicide for Bruce Wayne.
What?
Was that
Spider-Man wouldn't let me put a fucking hole in him.
So I'm going to put a hole in mine. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I should make jokes.
What the fuck, man?
Well, that's what Kraven's Last Hunt is. Leave me alone. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about the weird shit.
I want to talk about the hole in your argument.
Well, that'd be the hole between Kraven's eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus.
Look, that story is like 30, 40 years old.
Take your spoilers, damn it. What are you doing?
Everyone knows that it's called Kraven's Last Hunt.
No, bullshit. It's gonna be the movie. You just spoiled the whole movie for me. Thanks.
They're not gonna make a Kraven's Last Hunt film. Oh yeah, let's take the kids to see the movie where Kraven the Hunter blows his fucking brains out on camera.
Yes.
No one's gonna fucking do that.
Listen, if you and me watched it, why do I feel like we would get thrown out?
Because we would be the ones applauding when Kraven finally blows his fucking brains out.
I'm sorry, I'm not a Kraven guy. I never have been.
Now, let's talk about how fucking weird and unnecessarily dark and just macabre that is.
What Kraven's Last Hunt? Yeah. Like the elements in there, like with
because like that's an idea
and all that. Like it's like I here's the thing, because I like Kraven's Last Hunt. I do think it is probably one of the most quintessential Spider-Man stories out there. And
Yeah.
it's why it's so famous.
But
my issue is parts of it really didn't age well.
For one, I think it's written by Peter David. I want to
When's
say
the last time you saw anything with fucking vermin in it?
Well, you want to know why that was? Because again, the guy who created Peter Vermin the Ratman wrote that book. He fucking loved that character. But like, he was originally a Cap villain because like he was like an experiment by like Hydra or AIM to like make like an anti-Cap weapon.
Typical Hydra AIM shit. Okay.
Well, it gets worse because after they did that storyline, Peter goes to hunt for Ratman because he's like, he lets Ratman get fucking away because Kraven was just gonna murder the Ratman, and they bring up some really uncomfortable things with Ratman. I don't want to get into it, but
it's just like I said. To me, that's a case of let's go dark for the sake of dark.
Yeah, like especially because like
I mean, it feels it. I get what you're saying. It really feels out of place.
Yeah,
because I mean, like, and someone's like, well, you got to have dark stuff in this, and I'm like, we have Peter getting buried fucking alive. And then crawling his way, like, that shit is fucked up.
Hell,
as someone who's a Buffy fan, that shit is fucked up. I have seen that happen on that show. I don't want to fucking see people crawling their way out of there.
Well, not only
that shit's weird.
Like, the beginning of the story implies that Kraven fucking put a bullet between Spider-Man's eyes. Like, they didn't imply, like, he got tranked. They implied Kraven murdered Peter. Like, and then
Peter was masquerading that. What the fuck?
Yeah, like, fucking weird. Like that, the story takes place after Peter and MJ come back from their fucking honeymoon. Like, imagine you're reading that silly story where Peter and MJ meet Puma, and like,
and then you jump in it, it's like,
and then all of a sudden,
it's like, what the fuck, man?
Not like that, because like it brings up Peter being like all mopey because not Harry. Somebody died. Because I don't think this took place before Harry.
Was it John Jameson? Was it Manwolf?
No, it wasn't Manwolf. For some reason, Peter's mopey about. Oh no, it's Gwen. He's like.
Oh, he's back on the Gwen kick.
Well, because like, I forget exactly. Like some kind of like made him mopey. I know. He's talking about Ned Leeds died, and then he's thinking about Gwen died, and so he's just kind of. He's just being Peter Parker.
To be fair, the dude's been through some shit.
Yeah, no. Like, I'm not saying it's like it kind of feels typical. Peter's like, like. I just got married. I
should be happy.
But like I'm thinking about like all these horrible things. Like
I'm thinking about Uncle Ben again.
Yeah.
No,
yes, I think at
understand.
one point it does.
We get it. We get it, man. We're with you. I get it. It's okay.
Well, then to be fair, another reason why this is like this is at this point they've established that Peter wears the red and blues in stories that are going to be like. Hey, it's just, Peter having an adventure.
When he has the black one, shit's about to get real.
He's just swinging around, and at this point...
Like Back in Black.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, man. Shit hit the fan, and we got to review that at some point. I got to get the trade for that, because I have issues of that, but I want the whole thing. Shit hits the fan.
I have every issue of that. Okay, I have every issue of Amazing, but to be fair...
Like I said, I want to get the trade just so we get the tie-ins.
To be fair, the tie-ins I don't think are as important, especially because some of the tie-ins... Yeah.
Plus, I need to get it anyway.
Well, some of the tie-ins are weird because he's in the costume, but he kind of just acts like the events in Back in Black
haven't happening,
or kind of not important.
Yeah,
and I'm like, but there's a reason you're wearing that. But the story is weird in other ways. Like, there's a part where like Kraven is just buck-ass naked licking spider venom out of like a cat dish.
I forgot about that.
And then
I really didn't need the image of that. And then
they put him in like
for that, though.
Then he's in like this room where like they pour like dead spiders all over him, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It's art. Where's Doug? It's art.
Well, the thing about the venom, though,
we got to reference Doug at least once that episode.
Well, the thing about the venom that gets me is, like, clearly someone had to milk all those spiders for that venom. So I just imagine, like, one of, like...
This fucking internship sucks.
Like...
Fuck this, man. I should have went to Empire State.
I just assume that, like, after Kraven finally puts the rifle in his mouth, they're all like, okay, so who wants the sofa? I'll
take the gun collection. I can get some money off of that.
Yeah, Who wants the stuffed animal corpses?
Yeah, just stuff like. But God, I think that's probably a good place to wrap up because we have just gone all over the place with this. But I mean, it just shows that like
horror can work really well
with Marvel and DC characters. It has to be a character that's suited for them.
Holy crap! We didn't bring up Scarecrow once in this
Scarecrow's easy picking.
Yeah,
That's the reason why I didn't jump to him. I could have brought up the whole bullshit with him in No Man's Land with him and Huntress, but that's too easy.
Fair enough.
You think scary Batman villain? Scarecrow. Like it's too easy. I wanted to discuss some other ones. You know, the lesser known stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think that's probably a good place to wrap up. But like I said, you can absolutely get horror elements to work with stuff, and it's really a shame they don't do more with it because when they do it right,
it's really good. Green Lantern Blackest Night, where they literally do fucking zombies but with superpowers.
Yeah. Or God, there's one in particular I'm trying to think of. What is it? Do you remember the issue of Amazing where Peter got morphed into like that big ass spider creature?
Oh yeah.
That shit was, as a kid, that creeped me the fuck out.
That was the stuff with the Spider Queen, right? Where she turns him into a giant spider for some reason.
Oh, that shit creeped me out.
That shit would creep me out, but that story is
whack.
Yeah. Because that was actually how they tried to give Peter the organic web shooters because that was what they were doing in the movies. And then the other happened where he died, got reborn, and had the organic web shooters, so got him twice. But yeah, like you said, like there's a lot of good examples, and I kind of wish Hollywood would take chances more of making movies that happen to have superheroes in them. Like, you know, you could do a horror film, but with these characters, or like say, like a comedy, but with these characters. Like it'd be interesting to see the superhero genre used in a way that isn't just this is a superhero film. This is a horror film that happens to have superheroes in it, or this is a police procedural that takes place in the Marvel and DC universe, like Gotham Central Police Department.
Imagine a Manhunter style Gotham story. Holy fuck,
that'd be great.
That'd be great. I'd read that.
Or like some other story like with Superman like that. But bottom line, like I just wanted to do this because like
we don't talk enough about horror and just stuff and how when it's done great. Yeah, it's great.
Honestly, I think this when we get to Valentine's Day, I'd like to talk about like maybe how they could do like romance stuff with superheroes, like they even like do like
Spider-Man Blue,
or Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane, you know, like stuff like that.
Both of which I have, by the way.
Both which you do have. But yeah, this was just kind of something I want to talk about since we're in the middle of like recording some other stuff for Halloween. We might have to probably do a couple of these doubles if we want to get them out before Halloween.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. I hope you enjoyed our little conversation. Sorry, it kind of went off the rails a little bit, but
Spider-Man's driving the mystery machine, thread derailed.
Now we'll see who the bad guy really is. It's crazy. Oh God.
Shit. That's right, gang. We're doing one sick son of a bitch.
Holy shit. Like you said it, Scoob. He blew his brains out all over the mystery machine.
What the fuck, man?
Jenkins.
What the fuck?
Sorry.
On that note, everybody, I'm Average Joe Squad.
I'm Zangetsu 134, and I'm going to be in some hot water when this episode comes out.
And as always, we ask you to remember the hyphen and take care.